What's up, folks? Welcome to Mindset Tabletop. I'm Matt McCann. And yeah, I didn't do that everyday vlog thing at the con that I said I was going to do. Sorry about that. One of the first things I learned at my first con was do not overload yourself with projects. It was difficult enough to just keep posting through the day on Instagram. And as you could see, if you were following my stuff, it did dwindle a bit as I went through the trip. It was amazing, though. I'm so glad that I went. It was a great experience. I met some great people, and I had a lot of fun. I did not game as much as I would have liked to. I'm going to fix that next time. But I've learned a few things that are going to help me get through next time and make sure that I get the things that I wanted to played. First thing I got to mention is I didn't play Ark Nova, which was just boneheaded. I just didn't have my mind on it. I actually had a concentration on really playing a lot of old games that I hadn't played yet, or things that I'd heard of before that I hadn't played before, and I kind of forgot about a lot of the new stuff. So I played Aquatica. If you've seen the first video, you know what happened on day one. And Aquatica was definitely a highlight. I really enjoyed that. I didn't get to play Concordia, which I really wanted to try that. I've been wanting to try that for years now. And flaked on that one. Didn't play Twilight Imperium, but I realized pretty much by day two that was going to be very hard to organize. So Wendake, very interesting. I didn't get a chance to play it. I got a chance to set it up and read the rule book, but I couldn't find other players and I couldn't find someone to teach me. So eventually I had to pack that one up and turn it in. But looks like a fantastic Euro game based on Native American culture. They actually have a whole book clarifying Native American culture and everything like that. They checked in with the leaders of that community and made sure that the game would not be offensive, that it would be accurate. And it looks like a really very interesting, heavy Euro game. So I can't wait to really get a play of that in. So I kind of threw in the towel on that one and turned it in. And as I was going through the library, I wandered past a table of a couple who were setting up a game of Catacombs. So if you haven't seen Catacombs before, this is a flicking game that is also a dungeon crawler. So you're putting down different size discs that represent different characters, and you are flicking them at other characters to do damage. But there are also like spells, like fireballs that you can throw, and ice balls, and arrows that you can shoot. And the arrows are tiny little discs, and you can put those within 1 inch of the character that's shooting them, and then flick those as you're shooting an arrow. Really, really cool. Very thematic game. Really added more depth and more strategy than I would have imagined. This is not a game that I would have pulled off the shelf, but I'm really glad that I wandered past and tried it because it surprised me. Definitely surpassed my expectations. Catacombs is a very interesting game, and you should check it out if you get the chance. When I was in my hotel room, which was way too much time I spent in my hotel room, I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave the bed. And it took me a long time to get ready in the morning, which I should have been better at because that cost me a lot of gaming time as well. But when I was in there, I took the opportunity to play Under Falling Skies solo a couple of times when I was, just waiting to get my day started or having coffee or whatever. I'd get a game of that going, and the more I play it, the more I'm liking that. It's a fantastic solo game. If you're not familiar with it, it's kind of a Space Invaders kind of thing. You've got ships coming down, and you're placing dice on different weapons and defenses and resources to power up your machine to fight off these aliens that are approaching the planet. And the higher value die you put in each spot, the faster that ship will descend. It's really a crunchy game and an interesting strategy, and highly recommended. It's really good. It's one of my favorite solo games. So on day 3, I went by the boss battle booth. They were demoing the game, and I actually had an opportunity to sit down and demo the game with a couple of other people. I've been excited about this since I had no idea it existed, and I walk in and I see this thing, and then there's going to be this tournament to win the game. So I was very excited to join it. Got into the tournament, played a few really good games, and ended up getting a prize copy of the game as the winner of the tournament. I am really very excited about this game. I think this could hit. This is a lane battling game. So you either play as the boss or you play as heroes. The heroes each have a lane, and the boss has 3 lanes. The boss can only damage the opponent in a lane with a hero. So if you're playing 2 heroes, there's going to be one where the boss can't do any damage, but the boss can still play in all 3 lanes. The heroes are trying to kill the boss is trying to kill the heroes. So, in this Kickstarter edition, comes with 3 bosses. Well, actually 2, but a variation on Tevrog the Dragon. There is an ice version of Tevrog the Dragon, which does a bunch of different stuff. Zaros is a necromancer, which raises the dead and kind of overpowers the heroes with numbers. Very, very interesting bosses, tough bosses. These are the heroes. You have Runa the warrior, Sting the thief, Aurelius the mage, and Emistrea the priestess. So you can pick from these different variants, and each of these characters has subclasses. So there's a subclass for each one of these characters that plays the game in a slightly different strategy, a slightly different way. So once you master these characters, you can play something different. Once you master Tevrog, you can start playing the ice version of him. Once you've done that, get into Zaros, start working with the undead and overpowering. There is endless replayability in this game. So much that can be done, and they are looking to expand it. So I highly recommend you guys supporting this game. This is a very fun, exciting lane battler. It is not easy. It takes a little bit of time to learn, but when you do, you are rewarded with a deep, strategic, still quick experience that is very thematic and fun. I'm very excited about this. So, tips for going to the con. I made a lot of mistakes this time, definitely. Probably more than I should have. I could have gotten more out of this trip than I did. But now I know, and next year when I go again, I'm going to do these things. For one thing, I'm going to bring lunch every day down to the game floor. So if you haven't been to Vegas before, it is a logistical nightmare. This city is such a mess. It takes 20 more minutes to do everything, especially walking to your car, because the elevators that lead to the room are on opposite sides as far as they possibly can from the exits to the hotel. So you have to walk across the whole hotel to the exit, and then the parking lot is on the other side where the elevators were. So you have to walk around the hotel again to get to the parking lot. So it's like a 20-minute trip to get to your car and back. So it's not fun if you have multiple trips moving into your room or moving out of it. The gaming area may be even farther away than that. You just keep going down these long quarter-mile hallways, and you just keep walking and walking and walking and walking until finally you find the main hall. So you do not want to be going back and forth to your room or to your car during the con. It is going to eat up a huge chunk of your day, and you need to avoid it as much as possible. Bringing a lunch is one of the ways of doing that. You can also eat at the little cafeteria thing that they have there. That's also available. So if you just want to break for lunch, you can just go right into the cafeteria there and buy something. So you're going to want to schedule your games. So if there's particular games that you want to play, you're going to want to schedule those, because it's going to be hard to sometimes to randomly get a game put together. I lucked out with Aquatica on day one. So as soon as I had the game set up, I had 2 players come over and sit down with me, and then a teacher came and taught us the game real quick. So I lucked out there, but that's not always going to happen, as in the case of Wendake. So what you're going to want to do is schedule your games and go with a group if you possibly can. I think this would be a wonderful thing for couples to do. If couples are into board games, go to these cons, go to Dice Tower, go to any con that you possibly can, because I think it'd be a wonderful thing for couples to do together. You can kind of wander around, look at what you want to look at, and then when you want to play a game, you can grab one off the shelf and you can play it like that. You don't have to recruit anyone. The recruitment does take some time sometimes, although people are very willing to join games and they're very friendly. Everybody was nice. It was really cool. And but sometimes people are just like, I don't have time for that game, or, oh, it's a rough teach, or, they're hungry, they got to go. There's all types of situations. Everybody's going everywhere at all times. So you never know when you're going to be able to get a game in. So go with a group if you can, or go as a couple. Highly recommended. Keep your pamphlet. Your pamphlet is going to help you a heck of a lot more than the electronic schedule. I and so many other people that I talked to could not figure out that Dice Tower schedule. It was very hard to find events that you wanted to go to. The stage show events, such as like the Brothers Murph show and the Paula Deming show, those weren't on there, or at least it didn't look like they were on there. It was very hard to find everything because you have to click this to go into this to go into that to find your thing. In the pamphlet, you just turn a few little pages, and somewhere on there it's going to say Saturday 1 p.m. this event. It was great. It was a lot easier just using the pamphlet. So keep that on you. Make a copy of it if you can. You're going to need it. I would really recommend bringing some of your own games. If there are games that you are for sure going to want to teach other people, or you're going to for sure want to play, you could. It's also a good idea, if you can't find a game, bring a solo game that you can solo in your room. Bring games with you, because you never know when you're going to have the opportunity to play those or teach someone, or when you're going to need a game to play. So yeah, bring your own stuff, but do not overload yourself. Don't fill up 3 bags with games. You're not going to play them. But bring a few, because for example, I was very happy that I brought Under Falling Skies. I'm glad I had that. So yeah, bring your own stuff. Double check your room. I know this is standard for people who travel a lot, but I do not. And if you are not familiar with traveling, always double check your room before you leave it. Double check every drawer, every cabinet, everything. Make sure that you've got all your stuff, because I left a few articles of clothing behind. So I'm kind of regretting that now, because I didn't double check my stuff. So I'm going to double check it next time. And book direct through the hotel if you possibly can. I made the mistake of booking through an outside party, and they did not have all the information. The customer service was obviously outsourced. They weren't there at the hotel, and they didn't really know how things went. So I got a lot of misinformation, and it caused some problems when I checked in. So definitely book direct through the hotel if you possibly can, and get as close to ground level as possible. If this is going to be at the Rio next year, you're going to want a room within the first 22 floors, because there are 2 elevators, and one of them only goes to 22. The other one goes to 23 and above as well. So, and the one that goes all the way up is constantly has a line. The other one is constantly free. So those are my tips for the trip. And, I don't know, stay in the hotel as much as you possibly can, because Vegas is a nightmare. Well, folks, that's my experience at Dice Tower West. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you to everyone at the Dice Tower for putting on that incredible event. Thank you to everyone there who played games with me. I had a wonderful time with you folks, and I can't wait to go again next year. Thank you to PJ and Jessica for teaching me Boss Battle. And the tournament was a great, great experience. And if you'd like to hear more about this game, stay tuned to the channel. I will be covering this in detail. Thank you for your time, folks. And remember, have a great time this week.